Hello and welcome to another episode of the Proton Pack Podcast. I'm Kris, and with me always is the Toretto to my O'Connor, Tony. Say hey, Tone.
Hey, what is up, guys?
Break her heart, I'll break your neck.
Damn right we will. Episode 45, live in living color. You're now in beautiful high definition.
Yeah.
Very good.
Got some new toys to play with.
New toys, new backgrounds.
Always good.
I think we got the same sound bites, though. But one day we will have new ones.
That's next on our list. We'll get there. We'll get there. But, so this is episode 45. We're almost to that big number 50. And, it's been a few weeks. Things have been a little crazy around here. But we are committed to getting some new content out there for you guys, and hopefully we can do it a little more regularly than we have over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, we've been we've been wanting to shoot on Sundays, but of course last Sunday was Super Bowl Sunday, and it was kind of hard to do an evening shot for us. I mean, I don't know who was going to tune in during the Super Bowl anyway, so we kind of postponed that. Yep. And it's just been getting set up and getting situated with our personal lives, trying to get together to do it. But here we go, and it's time to do those shameless plugs.
Do the shameless plug.
It's shameless plug time.
It is in these hills that Juan Valdez and his trusty goat gather coffee beans every morning. What is cool?
All right. So the first shameless plug, as with every episode we do, is my dog rescue nonprofit, which is right there if you're watching the video. We're talking Rough Riders, roughriders.org. And what we do is we go out and we pull dogs from kill shelters and animal shelters out in the rural parts of northern Nevada, parts of California. Bring them back and give them a second chance at life. Try to find them homes. And it's been a blast, putting all of it together and seeing, all of the dogs that we have a chance to save, with a few of our own included. But in any case, head over to roughriders.org or facebook.com/roughriderssaves. We are in the process of raising $75,000 for 2 commercial vans upfitted with kennels, so that way we can move more dogs at any given time. And we have the generous support of Tito's Handmade Vodka, where they are going to match $10,000 that we raise dollar for dollar. So some wonderful support, and anything you guys can do to help would be truly appreciated. So that does it for my shameless plug. On to your shameless plug,
Tone.
Great
shameless plug. All I have is you can tune in every Sunday night to the #1 show on KMVC 95.1 FM in Carson City, live stream to the world at KMVC.org. That is Pop Culture Kaboom Radio Show. So you can join Jimmy Jones, do his conversations about the 7 pillars of pop culture. You can call in, you can conversate. He talks everything from comic books, toys, collectibles, games, cons, events, novels, televisions, and movies. I join him for the movie segment at 8:40 Mountain Time, so that's 7:40 Pacific Time, which is where you're at.
Yep.
So you can tune in, again, KMVC.org, or if you're local, KMVC 95.1. We talk about the most hideous trailers, or even some that you do know. Like this upcoming week, we'll be talking about, or we just talked about Birds of Prey, Harley Quinn, and then 2 other one. There's a restored thing of the Harlot and the Dutchman from the 50s. Looked pretty bad. And one other movie that was a touch brown. It did not look very good. But we did discuss Harley Quinn, which, you guys know about that if you're listening to Pop Culture World. So, so check that out. Pop Culture Kaboom. Everything you want, everything you need. Jimmy Jones.
KNVC.
KNVC, Carson City.
All right, so that does it for the shameless plugs. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this show and start things off with TV news, as we do every week.
I like the TV.
Bazinga!
The cream of the crop!
Hey, baby.
Let's go, Falcon.
Excellent.
Hail to the king, baby.
I think it's funny every week in that intro. I kind of forget that Pee Wee Herman's in there. A little pervert.
That could be part of movies or TV.
You really could.
All right, so kicking things off, there's so many streaming services out there. Apple, Hulu, Disney Plus, Netflix, DC Universe, soon to be Quibi. One that people may not...
Chibby
Wibby.
Chibby Wibbits.
One people might not be familiar with is NBCUniversal's terribly named Peacock, which...
Let me see your peacock. Cock.
Which finally has a release date. As revealed at the company's investor meeting, Peacock will debut on Wednesday, April 15th with both ad-supported and paid subscription versions. There is one significant catch, however. Peacock will initially only be available to subscribers of Comcast's Xfinity X1 service and owners of Comcast Flex devices, with a wider release to follow on July 15th, 2020, time to start the Summer Olympics in Tokyo. Now, the free version will offer roughly 7,500 hours of streaming shows and movies, news, and live TV content, though a more robust version known as Peacock Premium, I'll give you a Peacock Premium, will debut with twice as much content at 15,000 hours. The ad-supported version of Peacock Premium will be free for Comcast customers and $5 a month for everyone else. So yeah, you know, it's...
I'm trying to keep a straight face for this. I mean, who in the hell calls their thing the Peacock, man?
Right.
I mean, come on.
Well, I guess it all depends on what content that they're going to have, you know. Just looking through here, Law and Order, you know, if you love the Law and Orders, then great. Chicago Fire.
The soundbite, dong dong.
Oh.
It's not on there anymore.
Tonight Show, Jimmy Fallon, Late Night with Seth Meyers. Looks like they're working on a Battlestar Galactica reboot. But that's really about it. You know, it's one of those things that, you know, if they had like Friends on there, but that's going over to HBO Max.
Going to HBO Max, yeah. Well, and this is bad. I mean, streaming, everything's got streaming, right? It's what devices can you put it on? Now, I want to chime in real quick and divert. So Apple TV, you know, that how we got like the free year with when you bought the new iPhone and everything.
Mm-hmm.
What a pain in the ass to get that app on anything, man. It's not on Xbox. It's not on PlayStation. It's not on my smart TV. You got to have like an Amazon Fire Stick. So luckily upstairs, I can do that. Well, I am upstairs. It's right there. Right there. And, or you just got to have a modern day Apple TV, because even my old ass Apple TV doesn't have that. So guess what? I'm not watching.
Yeah.
I'm not utilizing it, because what am I going to watch it on?
I have it on.
I can watch it on my phone, but this is another bad thing. So you're going to limit yourself to the Xfinity members, which that's cool if you have Xfinity. But here's the thing: you've got the cable. So what are you going to pay more for this, or is it just free? I don't know. I don't know about it. I'll stay. I know like they'll have The Office and they'll have Parks and Rec. So there's some good shows there.
Now, will
the Saved by the Bell reboot is a bad idea.
Yeah, no. Now, will Netflix still have Parks and Rec and The Office as well, or are they getting rid of it at some point soon?
At some point, that contract's going to end, and those will go over to the NBC show, the NBC app, which God, the Peacock network. Well, good luck.
Yeah. Well,
just terrible name though.
Yeah, it's an awful name. Now the thing is, if you have cable, it can be expensive. You know, we don't have cable here. We do everything purely streaming. Lucky enough that I get Hulu through my Spotify subscription. I get Disney Plus through my Verizon wireless subscription, and then I get Apple TV Plus through having an Apple iPhone or having purchased one here recently.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's there's definitely good ways to get your streaming, but you start adding that up, and it's pricey, man.
Yeah.
It's very expensive, and I know any more networks, they know what's up. They're like, people do streaming versus actually watching the live TV. But yeah, I don't know.
And
I'm on the fence with this just because, like, everything that they're showing right now doesn't look overly exciting to me. I mean, kind of scrolling through this. I mean, Law and Order, that's cool. That's definitely not a bad thing to get. Of course, as I'm scrolling, I'm getting all these pop-up ads, so I couldn't really see everything.
This is low on my list. I think the next one that I'd actually pay for is probably HBO Max.
Oh, absolutely. Because you got Friends on there, and you got Game of Thrones, and you got everything that HBO's ever done.
And Warner Media. So DC Universe is going to be wrapped up into there as well, so you don't have to have a separate DC Universe subscription. That one's going to be well worth it. $15 a month, but still, it's a lot of good content.
Yeah, I would definitely do that over this. So there we go. So that's that. You guys can read more. If you want to see what's going to be on the Peacock network, we will have this on our Facebook page. Feel free to go there. There's another little shameless plug. And then if you follow us on Facebook, you'll get those in your feed, so you'll be up to date with what we're talking about. So check that out.
Yep. All right. Speaking of HBO and HBO Max, and before I get into the story, Tone, while I'm talking about this, maybe try and turn your microphone output up a little bit. For whatever reason, you've gotten a little quiet.
A little on the quiet.
A little quiet. So while Tony's working on that, I'll give you guys the rundown on this. So Watchmen on HBO, which was a huge hit. I mean, based on everything that was coming out about it, and people just loved it. It was kind of predetermined that there'd be a second season. Now, with that being said, HBO is unlikely to move ahead with the second season of their critically acclaimed comic book show Watchmen unless series creator Damon Lindelof is involved, something Lindelof has repeatedly stressed he's not interested in doing. Quote, "It would be hard to imagine doing it without Damon involved in some way," HBO programming president Casey Bloys conceded in an interview Wednesday with USA Today. It's Lindelof, who, if you don't recognize the name, was sort of the brains behind Lost. And it's interesting that he would step away from it. But, he left the door open to it a little bit. If the right idea struck him, he said, "I would definitely be inclined to pursue it. There's no guarantee of if and when that'll happen." So my guess is the folks at HBO are scrambling and pushing really hard to get him back involved. But I wouldn't expect to see a season 2 here anytime soon, at least.
All right, testing.
That is way better.
Way better? Okay.
Way better.
Now we've now centered the microphone right here.
And so one of the things that I've heard sort of just through the grapevine is that what they may look at doing if Lindelof can't get involved is bringing in different creators and doing sort of a anthology style like they did with Fargo, telling different stories with different characters. And, maybe taking it that way, giving, different creative outputs for folks to see what they can do.
Well, hopefully they do that. It'd be awesome to keep it going. Everything I've heard has been positive about Watchmen on HBO, and I know everyone that's been into that so far has been very disappointed to hear that he's out. And, sometimes you change showrunners. It can get bad, but it's not necessarily a bad thing because Walking Dead did do that going in from season 1 to season 2. And everyone was like, was it Frank Durbin?
Frank Darabont.
Darabont. Okay. So he got bought out and he got done. He was one of the original show creators, and it was kind of like, oof, how's this going to do, because he did so great in the first season. And they were able to go on a nice long run before it kind of got stale. So,
right.
I mean, it finally has turned into a corpse at this point.
Well, and the funny thing is that it went stale when it changed showrunners again. over to God, what's his name? He is the special effects guy.
Oh,
Nick.
yeah. Dang it. I'm gonna cheat a little bit on this one. His name's on the tip of my tongue. I know everyone's like, "Oh gosh, this is who it is, you idiots."
Oh God, it's gonna bug me.
Yeah, don't worry.
Not Scott Gimple, but Nick something or other.
I thought Gimple was a.
He's one of the co-creators. He's one of the co-creators, but
Greg Nicotero.
Greg Nicotero, thank you.
I saw his face in there, yeah. Because it used to be Frank Darabont, and Gimple is one of the producers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like we said, that hasn't been very good lately, but
no.
I don't know if it's back on or it's coming back soon.
Well, and just to sort of wrap up the thoughts on Watchmen, I watched, I want to say 4 episodes of it before I switched over to Verizon. So I lost my subscription that I had through my AT&T. So I don't know how it ends, but I'll have to wait till HBO Max comes out to find out. So, and
chime in what you guys think of that. I mean, if you guys were fans of that, let us know. I mean, don't spoil it, but let us know what you think. If this show should continue, should it not continue? Just keep us in the loop.
Yeah, the other one I'm bummed I missed is the series finale of Silicon Valley. And so I've watched every season, every episode up until the series finale, and then I lost my HBO subscription. So
no, we need Vader for that one.
Bummer. All right, going back to The Walking Dead.
Are we going back?
We are going back. So we were talking a little bit about the original Walking Dead. Don't know when that's coming back for another season. But with that being said, AMC has announced that The Walking Dead World Beyond will premiere on Sunday, April 12th at 10 p.m. Eastern, right after the season 10 finale of The Walking Dead. So I would assume we have to wait till October for season 11 on that. But this series will be the 3rd installment in AMC's The Walking Dead franchise and will be the 2nd spin-off series, with Fear the Walking Dead being first. World Beyond will be delving into a new mythology and story that follows the first generation raised in a surviving civilization of the post-apocalyptic world. So it's a prequel of sorts, which Fear the Walking Dead basically was as well. We've talked about it before. My thought is aligned with Tony's, where they're almost better off doing it in sort of that anthology style. Wrap up the first Walking Dead, move on to Fear the Walking Dead, then move on to this one, as opposed to trying to have 3 separate stories going on at the same time with completely separate timelines.
The oversaturated, I really think that, kind of borrow along the lines of American Horror Story, right? Each season's its own story, and then we get to season 2, it's a whole new story, new characters, and just go kind of like that would be pretty sweet. I think you could keep, as long as there's a beginning, a middle, and an end for a whole season, I think that's a good call. Because at this point, do we really, as much as I love, Daryl Dixon and all that stuff, I'm ready for it to end. I'm just ready for that story to wrap up.
Right.
And
and you can have
all the characters we really invested in. Yeah, I mean, it's not. I mean, you don't even have Andrew Lincoln on the show anymore, and they're trying to spin that into a big ass movie now, and it's like, oh God, just wrap it up, please.
Well, and if they do it that way in that anthology style, you can take a couple of the characters and sort of bridge the gap. Where they carry over into the next storyline to some degree, but then it's sort of a passing of the baton, and just keep things going that way.
Yeah, that would be cool. Just, if you want to develop the next character to get rolling with the next one, finish up that story, and then, like you said, tie it all together. So you're like, oh, makes sense. I've seen him on that other one. That was cool. Yeah. But either way, you guys chime in on our Facebook. If you're streaming along, feel free to chime in below and let us know what you think. I mean, You want to see this show keep going? You still love it? You hate it? Like, what's going on? Let us know. I think it's getting a little stale for my life.
And if you are listening on the podcast, you can find our Facebook page on facebook.com/Proton Pack Podcast or on Instagram at Proton Pack Podcast.
Yes, another shameless plug.
All right, moving on. Speaking of more streaming services, so Marvel will reportedly not move forward with the Howard the Duck and Tigra and Dazzler animated shows on Hulu, even though MODOK and Hitmonkey are supposedly still in production, but the Offender special that was supposed to bring them all together will not happen. They say that Hulu is reportedly not involved with the cancellation, although the Walt Disney Company fully controls both Hulu and Marvel. Howard the Duck and Tigra and Dazzler were announced back in February alongside MODOK and Hitmonkey, and The Hollywood Reporter reports that the writing team for Tigra and Dazzler series was fired in December due to quote-unquote creative differences. They were supposedly on a 20-week schedule for production and were already in week 15 with scripts and outlines completed. Those were supposedly tossed aside in favor of finding a new showrunner. Kevin Smith, who was working on Howard the Duck, said as recently as last month that it's so far so good for the series, according to Flickering Myth. So, you know, we had talked about it before that, you know, Hulu's involvement with the Marvel franchises obviously aren't canon. They're not part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. These were sort of standalones like, what's the one that's on there? The Runaways?
Runaways on Freeform. Everyone watched that show. It was my favorite.
Freeform?
Freeform, right?
Freeform.
Freeform. What was that stupid channel called?
Yeah, it's Freeform.
Freeform? Oh,
Yeah.
I call it Freeform.
What did it used to be? ABC Family?
Yeah, ABC Family, and then before that, I think Lifetime Network, maybe.
Yeah, and all of these were animated projects, and so it's
I'm bummed if Howard the Duck doesn't go through. Well, obviously it's not, so never mind. Like, I thought, you know, that could have been good, especially with Kevin Smith behind it. Would have been neat. But, you know, on the plus note, Kevin Smith he's so busy. He's got so many projects going on. I mean, I know he's doing a reboot of Masters of the Universe for Netflix. That could be good. Maybe Howard the Duck is probably just better off with that. We're probably good with it.
Yeah.
Keep him for a cameo for Guardians Volume 3, and I'm good. Volume 3.
Volume
3, Howard the Duck. I want some duck titties, please. Still my favorite part of that cheesy 86 George Lucas film.
Right. So, yeah, and I had a feeling that this was going to sort of go on the wayside, at least in Kevin Smith's hands, because he's been working so hard on the Masters of the Universe reboot. One quick note on the Kevin Smith front is you recently uploaded Jay and Silent Bob reboot to Vudu.
Voodoo! I went out to the Walmart and I bought it, Joe Lane. I gave Kevin Smith that $15, little man.
Yep. Had a chance to watch it. Was hilarious. Obviously, it's more funny if you are familiar with the previous View Askew movies. Jessie wasn't, so she found a lot of it funny, but not all of it. And it was interesting that I don't know if you got this feeling, Tone, but as you got further in the movie, things seemed almost a little bit like cheesier. You know, the whole Comic-Con or Chronicon.
This is your dad, man.
That whole segment felt like it was shot on just an iPhone.
Yeah, it really did. And it just, it wasn't the best of them all, but, you know, definitely it had its moments. It was definitely funny. I still like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back better. That was
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
But, you know, for a reboot and all that stuff, not too shabby.
Tons of cameos.
Tons of cameos. I think there's tons of one-liners too, but again, you got to be a View Askew fan to even remotely like it. If you don't like that, then you're not gonna. It's just like a low budget, cheesy stoner flick.
Yep.
And I get a feeling if you don't know when Bill and Ted come back, if you're not aware of Bill and Ted and you probably go into the third one, you're probably gonna be like,
right.
You're not gonna get it. You got to know them.
And the movie was full of figurative, and even some literal winks to the camera. Things where they were talking boldly about exactly what they were doing in the state of Hollywood, and then a few where they looked directly at the camera. And I think that was handled masterfully, but it had some cheesy stuff. But for the most part, if you enjoy View Askew, check out Jay and Silent Bob. Reboot. Zang. All right. Moving back over to the TV side of things, talking Marvel and Disney Plus.
Talking Marvel and Disney Plus. What up?
It looks like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier release date has actually been moved up to August of this year. And if you watch the Super Bowl, there was a nice little tease of not only Falcon and Winter Soldier, but also WandaVision and Loki as well. I'm excited for these. These look like a lot of fun.
I am too. When I didn't even think about it. When I was watching the Super Bowl, after yelling when Darlene started kicking Uncle Jesse's ass at the end, so you see, and it's a meme with Patrick Mahomes is Darlene from Roseanne, Uncle Jesse is Garoppolo, and Darlene won. Good job, Darlene. Anyways, when I saw the opening scene and you saw Cap's shield in that tree, and you're just like, what is this? Like, it didn't even dawn on me like this was a TV spot.
I was thinking.
I was like, what's going on? Did I miss something? How did I not know of this? I kind of felt like Brody from Mallrats, like Stan Lee is here in my mall, and you just don't know. And it's like, then it jumps in, and it's like, then you see WandaVision, and then it goes back and forth, and then you see some of Loki, and then I'm just like, I'm in, I'm invested. I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting excited about Disney Plus again. Because Mandalorian's been gone for, a couple weeks, so I haven't really turned on my Disney Plus.
Honestly, I haven't either.
And it's not a knock. It's a great service. It's hella worth it. It just, there is going to be a reason. We'll get into that in a few, but definitely just the trailer's up on our Facebook page. If you didn't get a chance to see it, you'll see what we're talking about. But dude, I got really excited to see this because it looks big budget, man. And I like the fact that these are low-end, book-end shows like we've been discussing, little anthologies, little bits and pieces to kind of tell more of that story.
Yeah, limited series. Now, the little clips of WandaVision, I don't know your thoughts, but my immediate thought was, obviously Vision was destroyed in Infinity War. And
spoiler alert, but yeah.
Yeah, my guess is that they're working on, putting them back together, and that everything that happens within this WandaVision, going back to old, 50s and 60s sitcom television and that whole look is maybe all happening inside Vision's brain with Wanda able to interact with him somehow.
That's a good way to take it. I did like her in her vintage classic Scarlet Witch outfit.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That was a nice little nod. So
I thought I would have double thumbs up in Olsen. It's kind of a hot Olsen, I ain't going to lie.
That's true. It is true.
Yeah.
So August for the Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then it looks like December for WandaVision. So
I can't wait, man. It's gonna be good. But Loki, man, when you see Tom Hiddleston right there, and I cannot wait to see where that goes. Because as you know, the reason why this show exists is because he was able to take the Tesseract again in the alternate 2012. Yeah, it gets confusing. It's time travel. Right. Deal with it. But when he escaped with it, that's where we go, man. We jump right from that scene when Tony Stark gets railroaded by the Hulk when he's all pissed off. And yeah.
Yep.
But, I'm excited, man.
I am too. Now, I don't know if you saw, there were pictures that emerged of a new Captain America for the show, and it was the character who ends up becoming U.S. agent. And so, it's nice to see somebody, suiting up in that Captain America outfit, but it's going to be interesting to see how they do that.
Yeah, it's going to be really neat. I actually didn't catch that, so I'll go back and check that out. But very cool to see where we take, after the events. I feel like it's been forever since Endgame, and I know it's been almost a year, but I feel like it's been forever. And even though we're going into the next phase with Marvel, with Black Widow, and man, the trailer spots from the Super Bowl just make that look good. And I'm with you. I think Taskmaster is Black Widow's sister. I think that's gonna all kind of tie in. I'm with you. I'm on board with that. But damn, watching those trailers, I'm getting giddy, man. And then I had to explain to my uncle, who doesn't really watch comic book movies, he thinks are stupid. And he's just like, wait a minute. He goes, I heard she died. Didn't she die? Like, why is she back? And I'm like, well, it's comic books. People always come back. But two, this is a prequel, so this happened before all this. And he goes, I hate prequels too. They're stupid. No, prequels are more ways to make money and tell more stories.
Right. Yeah.
I'm okay if they're done right.
If I remember correctly, it takes place between Civil War and Infinity War, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Makes sense.
I want to know what happened in Budapest. They keep talking about Budapest. Let's find out what happened in Budapest.
I think we just might.
Local sheriff from Washoe County needs to tell us what happened in Budapest. Friend of the show, Jeremy Renner. Come on. Tell us.
All right, sticking with Disney Plus and some more concerning news in the world of Star Wars on Disney Plus. Ewan McGregor has confirmed that to IGN that despite Disney Plus Obi-Wan Kenobi series being put on hold, its release date has not been changed. He basically said it's just slid to next year. That's all. The scripts were really good. I think now that episode 9 came out and everyone at Lucasfilms got more time to spend on the writing, they felt like they wanted more time to spend on the writing. Sort of doubling back on himself there. I've read about 80-90% of what they've written so far, and it's really, really good. Instead of shooting this August, they just want to start shooting in January. That's all. Nothing more dramatic than that. It often happens in projects. They just want to push it to next year. It will still have the same release date. I don't think it'll affect the release date. They're still shooting towards having the show released when it was going to be originally. So aside from Ewan McGregor repeating himself quite often, it's tough to say. Is that what he was told to say? Is there really some things happening over there in Lucas land that could put it on an indefinite hold? But
oh man, I hope not. Like, this is a show I'm very excited to see.
I am too.
I'm sure, like you, everybody it's into Star Wars. I'm stoked that Ewan McGregor is back as Obi-Wan, and if it's for the better of the show to make it what they hope it could be, then yeah, I'm on board. But yeah, January, that's a long time away, man.
And that's when they would start shooting it. That's not even when we would see it.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So sadly, we have to wait for that for a while.
We'll be in our 40s when that happens.
Yep. You know what we don't have to wait a long time for, though, Tone?
What is that?
The Mandalorian Season 2 is coming in October.
Woohoo! I don't have a yes. I'm stoked. That's good. That's way sooner than we had thought.
Oh, totally. I was figuring, late in the year. I mean, December, maybe even January of next year. But nope. They have confirmed it will be October 2020. The announcement was made by Walt Disney boss Bob Iger during the company's quarterly earnings call. Iger went on to say that Baby Yoda has taken the world by storm and promised that more consumer products featuring, quote-unquote, the child will be hitting the market in the coming months.
Of course, it's a moneymaker. Why would you not?
Yep. And in fact, wow. If you check out, I don't know if you're looking at the same thing I am, Tone, but
Life-size statue?
Sideshow Collectibles, who makes fantastic statues, has a life-size child statue that goes for $350, but it looks amazing.
Does it looks like that? And again, you guys can check that out. That's on our Facebook page, and oh yeah, it's really well done. I mean, from the hair to the cute little face. I mean, I'm not spending $350 on this thing. I don't really have that kind of money to do dumb stuff like that. I know. Let me rephrase. It's not dumb, obviously, because I spend silly stuff. But I don't know, man. $350 is a lot, though. A little baby Yoda right here would look pretty good. So
yeah.
Maybe we'll start a GoFundMe page.
I think he'd look good chilling there on. Is that your
maybe like with a little Proton Pack Podcast T-shirt on?
Yeah.
Pimp some merch. She could be our shameless plug every week. So
that'd be cool. Yeah. Did you say start a GoFundMe?
Yeah, we should start a GoFundMe page for that so we can get one. We need one at your place and mine. You know?
There you go.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to transfer the child, you know. But no, it's a good money maker. I'm excited that the show's coming back. I did read in the article that they're already talking about some spinoffs. Yeah, maybe hold off a little bit on that. Let's just focus on the story at hand. Let's see what's next for Mando and the child. And please, let's not do what we did, with where we had Baby Groot and then make him teenage. I don't need teenage Yoda. Let's just Baby Yoda's cute. Let's roll with that.
Well, I mean, they'd have to essentially jump ahead 50 years because if he's a baby and he's 50 years old, I think he's going to stay a child for a while.
Yeah, I do. Oh, fingers crossed. So, I'm excited for it. I think I'm glad that they're not making us wait like terribly too long. This was a smart idea and excellent idea for them to kick off Disney Plus with this show, and I love the fact that they did it week by week, just like a regular TV show. I mean, I'm glad we weren't able to binge it. It actually made you want to watch it more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and plus it just made you like to hold you over. You just went back and watched the same episode again. So see if you missed anything. Most shows you don't go do that. You watch it and you're just like, cool, moving forward.
I've watched the series 3 times.
Yeah.
Once on my own, once when the boys came out, and then we started again with Jesse's dad and brother and sister-in-law and nieces and nephews. Yeah. And so
you can't go wrong with the show. It's an easy watch and it's not long. See, and they got it right. They didn't overdo it by giving you a show that took flipping forever to watch. And I'm using my hands to talk apparently, but sometimes when shows are too damn long, you don't want to sit through them. You're kind of like, oof, that's a marathon. I'm good.
Yep. Now, if you can't wait until October, you want to get your Star Wars fix on Disney Plus.
October.
Disney has dropped a new trailer for Season 7 of Star Wars The Clone Wars, which returns for its final season this February 21st. If you watched The Clone Wars originally when it was out on Disney XD, great series, easy enough to watch a 21-minute episode, bust out 4 of them in a couple hours, enough time to get caught up before the 21st, but this final season looks amazing.
Oh, absolutely. I haven't even finished The Clone Wars in its entirety. I'm on season 2, I think. Maybe late season 2. I don't remember. Because I was watching it before Disney Plus. So now it's on Disney Plus, it's easier, but I just haven't done it yet. But watching this trailer is fantastic. I was trying to gauge, does this take place? I'm hoping that this will take place kind of right before Revenge of the Sith, but then maybe at the end of it, after it's happened, after Order 66 has come down and then Anakin is turned bad at this point. And I'd like to know what happened to Ahsoka. It showed up in Rebels, spoiler alert if you watch Star Wars Rebels, and that took place long after all of this. So she does eventually face Vader at some point. But be interesting to see where. And if you guys don't know who Ahsoka is, she is the Padme, basically not Padme, the Padawan. Padme's Anakin's wife. The Padawan to Anakin Skywalker. So, while Obi trained Anakin trained Ahsoka, but you never saw that in the movies. That always just took place on the show, which is a damn shame that this character didn't make an appearance other than voice in any of the movies. So.
Right. Which would have been nice, but this series is part of the canon, so even though she didn't appear in the movies, she exists in that Star Wars universe.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where it was, and the fact that Darth Maul finally gets to be the badass that we had hoped he would have been in The Phantom Menace. He looks just wicked in this poster. Again, you can see it on Facebook if you haven't seen it, but that trailer with just her standing tall, and you've got kind of a dark-looking Anakin right here. You got Obi looking here. You got the clones and just a badass Darth Maul staring you down right there. So, what's more?
And we don't have to wait long. February 21st.
February 21st. And trailer it looks good. It looks really good.
And just like Mandalorian, it's being rolled out week by week. So they're not just dumping them all at once.
Oh, good. I like that. I think that's just smart take. I mean, it leaves, like I said, with the previous, talking about The Mandalorian, how I liked it. It was weak. It left you wanting more. Like you can binge watch stuff on Netflix, and that's fine and dandy. But once you're done, you're done.
Yep.
You're like, okay, that's done. Next.
All right. Speaking of next, that does it for our TV segment. Now it's time to get into our weekly box office
report. It's such a stupid face I'm doing for those watching. Sorry.
And for those of you who are sticking with us, this is going to be a supersized episode. We're already 44 minutes into the episode, and we've only gotten through TV. So hang with us and just know that this sort of makes up for us not putting one out over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, it's kind of the big size, and that's why we didn't do it live. So if you're watching it, sorry.
Yep. Didn't want to get too late for you guys.
Yeah.
All right, box office report. Number one for a third straight week in a row is Bad Boys for Life. Brought in another $17.6 million, bringing its domestic total to $148 million. And worldwide total is $290.7.
Oh my! He's on fire!
So
I need to get caught up. I'm on last week's box office. Jeez Louise.
Uh-oh.
I was like, wait, my number doesn't jive with that, but there we go.
You're living in the past there, Tone.
I'm living in the past, and what are you going to do about it, jabronis?
Great movie.
Awesome. For a threequel, man. For a third one in the chapter, usually the third ones suck, but...
I don't even remember back to our last episode. Did we review Bad Boys for Life?
No, I don't think we did. If we did, I don't remember. But here we are. We'll give you a real quick one.
Quick review.
Bite size, 2 thumbs up. If you can see that, go see this movie. It is awesome.
So much fun. Hilarious, action-packed.
It is a damn good flick, man.
Oh,
funny.
Violent.
Yes. A lot of throwbacks to the second movie. So if you're a big fan of Bad Boys 2, you really... will love the jokes. If you haven't seen Bad Boys 2, please go see it so that way a lot of the reference jokes will make sense to you. And they even tie some of the stuff to the original, but a lot of throwbacks to the second.
Both movies are on Netflix right now, and I don't know anybody who doesn't have Netflix, so go watch that.
Check it out. All three are good, man. There's not one bad movie in the Bad Boys franchise. All three of them are fantastic. The only qualm I would say is I would have left out Bad Boys for Life. I would have got rid of that For Life title and called it Bad Boys 3.
Yep. My only qualm is that Michael Bay had a cameo appearance in the movie and was terrible.
Yeah, well, he didn't direct it, thank God.
Yeah.
And he should have, at that wedding he was at, he should have had a Transformer there for his date.
All right. In second place, also hanging on to that spot, is the World War I thriller 1917. Brought in another $9.6 million. Boy, that is a huge drop from number 1 to number 2. I guess it was a pretty slow weekend at the movies.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, only 9.6, but we're going through that weird phase right now where a lot of big flicks are out. You're getting a lot of the scary movies, or a lot of the little guys, a lot of the Academy Award movies.
Oscar contenders, yeah.
Yeah, great things I've heard about 1917. I have not gotten a chance to see this. I mean, I'm kind of slipping in that whole movie category of going. We do have an AMC here in Fort Collins. It is a pile of dookie. Yep, I'm saying dookie because I'm not cussing tonight. But they do have awesome Cinemark up here, and I just haven't made it to go see that yet. But from what I hear, a fantastic movie.
And actually, Pile of Dookie is a nice segue to the number 3 movie. Robert Downey Jr. in Doolittle made $7.7 million. Apparently, that movie is a pile of garbage. I think I think the Rotten Tomatoes score is low. I think it's in the 20s.
Yeah, it is bad. If we go to Rotten Tomatoes this week, oh, gee, money, as my grandma would say. She was always saying Jiminy, but she's a Filipino lady. Jiminy.
Apparently, it was a big fall for Robert Downey Jr., who just came off Avengers Endgame with a brilliant performance, and not so much with this one.
Yeah, no. Bad Boys for Life is a 77% on Rotten Tomatoes. 1917, 89%, and Pooh Little 16%.
16. Wow.
16.
That's awful.
Mother Lover.
Terrible. All right. In fourth place.
Order 66.
Yes. Get rid of that.
In fourth place was the new PG-13 horror movie Gretel and Hansel with $6 million, starring Alice Krige and Sophia Lillis, who played the young Beverly in It, and was directed by Oz Perkins. I know nothing about this movie.
Yeah, that's Hansel. He's so hot right now. Give me Hansel and Gretel, the witch hunters.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah, this one looks like a pile of...
Speaking of our friend Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, not the poop, but he was the
witch hunter
one. Yeah, not this poop one.
Right.
Got a 58% on Rotten Tomatoes, so kind of right in the middle there.
Fifth place, Guy Ritchie's R-rated ensemble crime story, The Gentleman, with $6 million, slipping by 44% from its opening last weekend. Stars Matthew McConaughey, Charlie Hunnam, Hugh Grant, Michelle Dockery, Colin Farrell, and Henry Golding. And we're going to get your review here.
Review soon.
Just a minute.
You got a 73% on Rotten Tomatoes. I will let you know if I agree with that.
All right. Let's see. That was fifth place. Sixth place. Why is it saying that it was in seventh place? Huh.
Did they screw it up?
I think they might have screwed it up. Interesting.
Yeah, because it is sixth place. Yeah. Yeah, that's sixth.
Yeah. Jumanji: The Next Level, which was a fun movie with The Rock, Kevin Hart.
What is Jumanji?
Another one that's well worth seeing in the theaters.
Yeah, 71% on Rotten Tomatoes, and here on the Proton Pack, we both gave it 2 thumbs up. It is a great, fun sequel. Maybe not as good as the original reboot one, but it is a very fun film. And Karen Gillian, so hot, a very big fan. Thank you very much.
In seventh place was Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker with another $3.1 million.
Skywalker.
It has now reached the worldwide total of $1.05 billion, making Disney a whole buttload more money.
What a flop of a movie. I mean, that thing just tanked.
In eighth place was a horror movie that you saw, Tony, and you can give us just a one-liner review of that. We're talking The Turning with $3 million.
Oh my God, 13% on the Rotten Tomatoes, and Jiminy. So this movie, you're just gonna want to run away. Don't waste your time. Just a complete pile of dog. It was terrible. 2 thumbs down. Worst ending I've ever seen in the movie. I think even worse than The Witch. I mean, the movie was more entertaining than The Witch, but the ending, what the hell? It was stupid.
And that's pretty sad.
I'll tell you when we're off air. Just don't see it.
All right.
I'm not going to ruin it for anybody in case you do want to see it, but far, far away. The only good thing I can say about this movie is the girl I went on a date with for this. Very nice. Like her. She's cool. It was her pick of a movie, so I'm not faulting her for that. It was an enjoyable company, but a terrible movie.
Terrible.
Horrible.
Yeah, it's pretty sad when its Rotten Tomatoes score is worse than Doolittle.
Yeah, it's under Poolittle, man, which makes me not want to see Poolittle.
9th place was the drama Little Women with 3 million, which I heard was pretty good if you're into that sort of thing, which I am not. So if you are, I guess go see it.
Yeah, I'm just going to give that one a...
Bazinga!
There we go.
There you go. And then
95% on Rotten Tomatoes, thank you.
All right. Rounding out the top 10 was the new R-rated drama, The Rhythm Section, at 2.8 million. My parents went and saw it. They were unimpressed.
The rhythm is gonna get ya. It got 30% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, so some really good movies in that top 10, some not so great movies.
Yeah.
And then this upcoming weekend, we get, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, Birds of Prey, which I am still, the jury is still out in my mind until I see it. I will see it, but I'm not going in with high hopes.
No, I gave it a so-so on Pop Culture Kaboom, which is kind of just a matinee. Like, I'm going to see it, like you're going to see it. I think going low expectations, maybe that raises that. Sometimes movies do that for you, and it's not so bad. Also coming out this week is The Lodge. That was the other movie we were talking about, which is kind of a poor man's version of The Shining.
Yep.
It's already getting an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I thought it looked pretty good.
Yeah, and then there is Come to Daddy. I don't know anything about that. And Then We Danced. That's coming out. I don't know who's in that. And then Pandora and the Flying Dutchman. Yes! I gave it a touch brown on Pop Culture Kaboom, but that is also what you got coming out this week in the movies.
All right, before we get into our movie news, Tony, give us a review of The Gentleman, directed by Guy Ritchie.
Yeah. So, of course, I saw The Gentleman couple weeks ago, and I went in actually not with high expectations. I just thought, hey, Guy Ritchie, Matthew McConaughey, the trailer looks really good. I went in and I was extremely disappointed.
Seriously?
Yeah, the first hour, man, is a snooze fest. I actually wanted to walk out on this movie. It was so boring. Basically, it was Charlie Hunnam, his character, was cooking a steak for Hugh Grant while they told a story. But then they kept changing it, like, oh, that's not how he would do this. Like they tell the story of what Matthew McConaughey's crime boss would do, and then they kind of would, no, that's not how they would do it. This is how it would really go. Now, with that being said, the first hour, I was not sold on this. And by the way, if you go into the movie and if you're highly offended by the "see you next Tuesday," aka the C word, if you're offended by that, don't see this, because that's every other word. It's cheeky and British, and that part's kind of good. So and if you're a big fan of Guy Ritchie, there's a lot of Easter eggs for Guy Ritchie stuff, so that's kind of fun to look at while you're being bored. But once that hour's up and they kind of tie the story together and they kind of loops and connects to these things, and they get from where they were telling the story to actually in the movie where they're at present time, because it's all about the build to get to this point. It's just a long ass build, but when you're in it, not half bad.
Okay.
It was okay. I cannot recommend you paying full price to see this movie. I cannot recommend maybe matinee, Redbox streaming. So it's a so-so. It's just okay. If I gave it a horrible review ranking, I'd give it a 3 out of 5. And it's just because the way it all tied together at the end. Not a bad ending. My problem was it took too damn long to get to that point where I was pretty much checked out by the time we got together. So not a bad flick, though. It was okay.
All right. Good to know. All right. Now that we've gotten the review under our belt, let's head on into our movie news.
Are you the Keymaster?
Back it up, fuzzball.
We kicked his ass.
This baby hit 38 miles per hour. They're gonna see some serious shit.
All right. Movie news brings us to our trailer of the week, and that is Fast and Furious 9, or Fast 9 if you like to abbreviate things.
F9, man.
And it looks like more of just the sort of over-the-top fun action that you come to expect from a Fast and Furious movie. Of course, you will not be seeing The Rock or Jason Statham in it because of the falling out between The Rock and Vin Diesel. But to make up for it, they brought in John Cena, who is coming in as a pretty legitimate movie star now.
Anymore, yeah. You can't see me!
Sadly, wrestlers who make the transition over to movies don't always work out. Roddy Piper is one of those, even though they live as a classic.
Ready!
Bonesaw.
Mr. Nanny, what you gonna do, brother?
But of course, The Rock is one of the biggest movie stars in the world, coming from that, from the
world of professional wrestling.
Yep, the World Wildlife Federation.
It doesn't matter what you think.
But
Oh, yeah.
John Cena's good. I enjoyed him in Bumblebee. He was great in Blockers or C Blockers or whatever you want to call that.
Peacock blockers.
Cock Blockers.
Peacock.
It's there's
Yeah,
nothing. There's nothing distinguishing about this movie based on the trailer.
The only thing I would say about it is, aside from the ridiculous car stuff that you're used to seeing, come on, you're going to drive off of a cliff and get magically hooked by a wire to swing after Charlize Theron pulls a Dr. Robotnik and flies over John Cena's car midair and swoops it up and they fly away. Okay, so this is a cheese ball, but that's okay. That's what these movies, they have the fun action, the good, the humor. But yeah, some of the stuff's just, you got to leave your, suspend your...
suspension of disbelief.
Exactly. You got to do that going into these movies. And hell of a cast. They are going to bring back Paul Walker for this CGI.
Interesting.
I
Deep
don't
fake.
know if that's a good idea. Maybe it's not very long. Luckily, Paul Walker's brothers do look very much like him, so they'll be doing a lot of that stuff, but the face will be kind of what we've seen in Rise of Skywalker and some of the Marvel movies. So Brian Shaw will be back in some form in this movie. The one big thing I didn't like about this trailer was they revealed that John Cena is Vin Diesel's brother.
Right.
I didn't like that. I would have liked to have learned that through storytelling, but here nor there. I will be there for F9. They will be making, I think they've agreed to do up to 10, and then they're done. No more.
Yeah.
They're going to end it. That's why they call it the saga. So just F9.
Big saga.
Yeah, it's a big-ass saga. And who would have thought just drag racing and undercar cars, from the early 2000s to now. So I'm a sucker for them. I like them, and I also don't understand how in the hell they brought Han back that'll be interesting. He's, again, another surprise they shouldn't have spoiled. But
right. But if you're going into this movie expecting flawless storytelling, then you are sorely mistaken.
I went into Hobbs and Shaw with low expectations. I thought that was going to be really terrible, and I really enjoyed that.
I did too.
I thought it was just a fun action, in-your-face, F-you flick. It was great. I dug it.
And even though this saga is going to end soon, Hobbs and Shaw is going to continue for, my guess, at least 2 to 3 more movies.
No, absolutely. Why not? The chemistry's there. The box office was there, and it's as long as there's an audience, these movies will just keep happening. And plus, it's a good moneymaker for Universal, so why not?
Yeah, it's their biggest franchise right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's something you will be able to catch on that Peacock service.
Right.
It looks like they'll eventually be throwing Fast and the Furious stuff on there. So, as NBC owns that, and it's a good franchise to have. So
yeah. All right, moving away from Fast and the Furious and on to the namesake of this show, the Proton Pack. Yes, we're talking Ghostbusters. We're talking Ghostbusters Afterlife, and it has been confirmed that Bill Murray will definitely be in Ghostbusters Afterlife, finally breaking his silence on his involvement in the upcoming sequel. Previously, Dan Aykroyd and Sigourney Weaver had both suggested Murray would be returning, along with fellow franchise star Ernie Hudson, but Murray himself had yet to speak about his potential casting. Officially confirming he'll be in the movie, Bill Murray spoke about what finally led him to returning to the role of Peter Venkman, crediting Jason Reitman and Gil Keenan's screenplay. He said the script is good, it's got lots of emotion in it, it's got lots of family in it, with through lines that are really interesting. It's going to work. We're a man down, that's the deal, and that's the story we're telling, that's the story they've written. So I think everybody assumed Bill Murray was going to be back, but knowing that he is officially back is definitely nice to know. Kind of brings everybody back together. Obviously, Harold Ramis passed away in 2014, but I have a feeling they're going to pay proper tribute to him in this the way they should.
Oh, absolutely. And plus, I think Bill Murray's going to have that Venkman chops, because one of my favorite commercials of the Super Bowl on Sunday happened to have Bill Murray in it. He reprised his role for Groundhog Day. It was great, man. It was a Jeep commercial. He just nailed it. I mean, if you guys haven't got a chance to see that, check that trailer out. Or not trailer, that commercial out. If you're a fan of Groundhog Day like you and I are, it's really awesome to see him in that. So I'm excited to see him back in Ghostbusters. So.
Yep. The second that alarm clock went off with Sonny and Cher, I Got You, Babe.
Yeah.
Like the hair on my arms stood up. I mean, yeah,
I was like, man, that'd be so cool if Bill Murray was in this. And there he was.
Sure enough. Yep. And not only him, but Ned Ryerson, the actor who played that.
Phil! Ned! Yeah. And, hey, I'm Patrick Mahomes, by the way. Hey.
And Bill Murray's brother, who played the mayor, was also in it. So a lot of people reprising their roles.
It's cool. It's Noah's Arcade.
Nice Wayne's World reference.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But that's what I always remember Bill Murray's brother best at, Not so much Groundhog Day, but more Noah's Arcade from Wayne's World.
But we've only got a few months to wait till it comes out. July 10th is when Ghostbusters Afterlife hits screens.
Cannot wait. I think once we get closer to the big blockbuster movie season, I think we'll cover some what are some of our favorite movies coming out this year. And as you can tell by the namesake of the show, this is probably the movie I'm most excited for. I'm sure you might be in that same boat. There's a lot of good movies coming this year, but that one's probably top of my list.
Yeah.
Top Gun Maverick looks freaking great too.
That does, but this one's, this is going to be a tough one because I'm going in with super high expectations, and that's always a setup for disappointment.
Yeah, definitely. It was kind of like the girl one. I didn't go in with high expectations. I was just like, I just hope it's good.
And it wasn't.
No. I think it's time to lay one of those. delayed.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oof, yeah, that was pretty bad. So we know Bill Murray's coming back. Sadly, we also know who is not coming back. Vanity Fair reported that Rick Moranis will not be returning for the upcoming sequel. He played Louis Tully in the original. He's probably one of the best parts of the first two movies, just in terms of, he was the true comic relief behind Bill Murray. But
he was great, man. That scene in Ghostbusters 2 with Andy Potts. Well, I don't know. Do you wanna hang out or play some Super Mario Brothers?
He did turn down a cameo in the female-led Ghostbusters that you were just talking about.
Smart call.
And he basically disappeared from acting after his wife died from cancer in 1991 and hasn't appeared in any live-action films since 1997, though he did make a cameo in The Goldbergs.
Yeah, he reprised his self as Darth Helmet.
Yeah. So sadly, we will not be seeing him in that. But, maybe if they make a sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife, which I assume they will, maybe they can coax him out of retirement.
Yeah, that would be great. I kind of hope this is just a ruse, kind of like, nah, he's not in it, just so they have one surprise, because they kind of already know everybody else is in. Like, this would be good. Even if it's just a weird cameo at the end, like, it'd be awesome is to, like, maybe during the credits or something. Like, he's not in the movie, but then, like, maybe at the end credits, he's roaming around Central Park or something, like, still as goes there, and he's just like, he's got the red eyes and he's still like snarling or something. Like, just something like that would be funny.
Yeah, if he shows up and I'm gonna drop one of our S-bombs, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Yeah,
it's gonna be good.
It's gonna be good. I'm with you, man. I'm gonna be real disappointed if we were talking about this in July and we're like, man, what a disappointing film. And it might be even one of those where even if it is bad, we may not admit it to ourselves and just lie to ourselves and say, it was good. You ever have those movies where you see it and it's a pile of shit, but you chose to just don't want to admit it.
Right.
I can't think of too many, but there are some movies where I'm like, yeah, it was good and I liked it.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think.
Can't think of any off the top of my head. Yeah,
because I do that sometimes. So sometimes a movie where I want it to be really good, and it's just not good.
Or it's one of those movies that everybody else thought was really good, and then you were like, I didn't really like it. But just to sort of appease people, you're like, yeah, it was great.
Yeah. Like the Lion King reboot.
Oh, better than Aladdin. Oh, yeah. Aladdin was awful.
Go back and watch it. It's not too bad.
It's pretty bad. It looks like it belongs on the Disney Channel. It was pretty cheesy.
It is on the Disney Channel now. It's on Disney Plus.
No, I mean like made for TV movie.
Yeah,
Disney
you're right.
Channel.
Yeah, you just can't take a good classic and reboot it like that.
Like it should follow Hannah Montana.
There you go. And now Aladdin. Here, laddie. Here, boy.
With that being said, and just sort of weird side tangent, Mulan looks actually really good.
Yeah, there's no Mushu. What was his name?
Yeah, that was Mushu.
Mushu. Yeah,
but it looks like more of a serious movie as opposed to a true remake of the musical comedy.
Yeah.
So, but
it'll be good. It'll live action Disney now. They're starting to run out of stuff. I think I read something right before the show that they're already talking about doing a live action Lilo and Stitch, but that's gonna be on Disney Plus. And it's like there's certain movies we don't need to.
Yeah, I heard they're working on a live action Bambi.
Yeah, we're good. I don't need to follow a deer. No,
I'm okay. But real quick, wrapping up Ghostbusters. While Ghostbusters may not be enough to coax Rick Moranis out of retirement, the rumor mill is saying that Disney just might, and that Disney is in talks with Rick Moranis to bring back his role for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids reboot. Wayne Szalinski, the movie will be called Shrunk, in that he would essentially be playing the father of his son from the original movie, who will now be played by Josh Gad. Now, all of that goes...
Olaf!
All of that goes to say that it is part of the rumor mill, and just before we started the show, Tony got some interesting updates.
Breaking news. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is getting a reboot.
A rebarb.
Rebarb. Original star Rick Moranis was reported to return as Wayne Szalinski. However, Disney just shot down that rumor. According to Cinema Blend, the House of Mouse says they have not entered any talks with Moranis and is unaware of any announcements related to this reboot. Should Moranis return, I guess he would be playing the father of his now adult son, Nick Szalinski, who will be brought to life by Josh Gad. But for now, that is a rumor, and it is not true. So, no, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids for you. Thank you, Lacey Yandra, for submitting this news story. We have to debunk it. Thank you very much.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
Not a pinata. No, hopefully that this is just kind of a thing. Sometimes they do, what do you say? They do like damage control, and they just kind of like if too much information gets out, like, yeah, that's not true.
Well, not only that, but, you know, if it goes back to the Ghostbusters thing, that if they find out that Rick Moranis is coming out of retirement to do Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and not Ghostbusters, I think people would be very upset, or that he is actually in talks to do this, and that he has, like you said, sort of a surprise role in Ghostbusters, and that'll be his big sort of reemergence back into pop culture.
Yeah, that'd be cool. You know, that'd be funny. If you can't do any of these, they are apparently going to reboot Little Shop of Horrors with Tagrin.
Who? Gosh. Taron Egerton?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry, I can't do his name. And then and Scarlett Johansson. So he could always pop up in that, too.
Feed me, Seymour.
Feed me, Seymour. That movie was weird.
That was a weird movie.
It was a weird movie. And plus, I wasn't really into musicals, so like growing up, that was just kind of weird to come across that. And like, it's just weird.
All right. Speaking of movies that are coming back, Kathleen Kennedy, who is the head of Lucasfilm, reported at the BAFTA red carpet that Indiana Jones 5 is still in progress. She says, we're working away, getting the scripts where we want it to be, and then we'll be ready to go. Harrison Ford will be involved. It's not a reboot. It's a continuation. He can't wait.
I just want to play his theme song. And I guess that's all.
That was it?
Well, I went to go to the main screen because I wanted to mute it if it was long. But let's try it again. Yeah.
There we go.
I just wanted to get that on our show because I like that theme song. But
so it basically confirms earlier reports that the next Indiana Jones movie is a sequel, not a reboot, and that Ford will remain in the lead role. In fact, Ford has previously been adamant that no one else can play Indiana Jones but him, insisting, quote, when I'm gone, he's gone. And basically they're looking to get that script perfect before reuniting Ford with director Steven Spielberg. So, I sort of mixed feelings on this. I love Indiana Jones. I mean, it's in my top echelon of movies next to Ghostbusters and Back to the Future and you know, these movies I grew up with. He was already starting to look old in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull when it came to the action scenes.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of Shia LaBeouf maybe sort of taking over the mantle.
No, I didn't like that either, yeah.
And I don't know if they plan on including him in this next movie. But, I mean, he's getting old. He's getting up there. And, I mean, Indiana Jones movies are big action movies. How's he going to do?
No, I don't know. I always kind of figured if it had to be rebooted, I thought Chris Pratt would probably be a really good one. But if you're going to do it, it's, I don't know, man. It would be like right now saying, you know what, let's go ahead and make Back to the Future 4. Marty and, you know, Doc, they're so old at this point. maybe it's just better off to be what it was and just be remembered for what it was. Because you kind of even take like the new Star Wars into account. Like, while I enjoy them and you enjoy them, not everybody does. You know, a lot of people like Jimmy have even said, you know, that's my Star Wars were my Star Wars, and all these reboots and prequels are terrible. So,
or make
his own, but
yeah.
But I'm with you. I think I'm not saying that Harrison Ford couldn't pull it off, but I don't know how you would do it. You know, I don't know.
Well, my only hope is that they do it sort of as a passing of the baton to, you know, who would be his son or another explorer. Again, I don't think Shia LaBeouf is the right call for it, but maybe they make him a few years older and all of a sudden now he's magically Chris Pratt, and you know, he starts his own Jones franchise. Maybe it's Montana Jones or Nevada Jones or
Hello, I'm Nevada Jones.
South Dakota Jones.
Yeah, Colorado Jones.
Florida Jones.
Florida Georgia line.
So we'll see.
Anyways, let us know what you guys think. Do you guys want more Indiana Jones? You want one more? I don't know if I do, but if it happens, I'll watch it. We'll see.
Yep. All right, moving on to some comic book movie news. During our hiatus, our time away, there was a trailer that dropped that actually looked pretty exciting. We're talking Morbius. This is a character from the Spider-Man Spider-Verse franchise, whatever you want to call it, from Sony, starring Jared Leto. And the trailer was actually very surprising. I wasn't expecting a whole lot, but it looks good. And what's interesting is it sort of bridges the gap between the Sony characters and the Marvel Cinematic Universe characters. So there's some nods to Venom with Tom Hardy, and then of course they bring back Adrian Toomes or Michael Keaton, his Vulture. So boy, I mean, a lot to unpack there, but I am pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I am too. And I figure if you're gonna tie in the whole Vulture tie-in, I'm surprised they didn't use like Tom Holland images. It's getting late for me. I'm starting to fade, so I'm like, so the Tom Holland images, they actually just used clip art from the PlayStation 4 video game.
Yeah,
that's their Spider-Man imagery in this movie. So,
well, and you know, Jared Leto, who if you are a comic book movie fan, obviously he played the horrible Joker in Suicide Squad. And he's a notorious character actor, but basically what drew him to this character and to this role, he said, there's a line in the film where Morbius says that he's been dying his entire life and now feels more alive than ever. And I think that sums it up. Here's someone who's been afflicted with this horrendous disease and has had all kinds of challenges and has been in pursuit of this cure. And then all of a sudden has this power and this physical strength, which is all incredible, but there's a flip side to it as well. There's a dark side. So that battle between the light and dark is something that he fights throughout the film. So that's basically what drew him to it. But, he's a good actor. I think he's going to do well in this. I'm more interested in seeing how it ties everything else together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just based on the trailer alone, this movie looks awesome. I can get on board with this. And the good thing is this is the first time anyone's taken a live act on Morbius. So it could be his own character versus him stepping into an iconic role like the Joker, where expectations are extremely high. He was the first Joker post Heath Ledger. And I mean, that is just an insane, I couldn't even imagine those kinds of shoes to fill. So this is probably a better niche for him. It's a Marvel film versus a crappy DC film. So, and I don't mean to be a dick on DC stuff, but they don't have the best track record.
They really don't. Oh man, I'm getting a cramp in my leg. Ow!
Cramping!
Oh, that hurt. Oh.
I just need to do that during cramp time.
So let's see. Morbius comes out July 31st. So July is going to be a pretty good movie month.
Oh,
Ghostbusters and Morbius.
Morbius.
All right. Sticking in the Marvel camp and actually moving a little over towards the toy side of things. Funko, who makes the pop figures, which you can see a few of them behind Tony, but not his entire collection.
No, you get a couple. If I duck my head here, you can see some Metallica ones and whatnot. But yeah, Funko Pop has this really, really cool one coming out.
Yeah, so they're paying tribute to Tony Stark's noble sacrifice at the end of Avengers Endgame with a character named or dubbed I Am Iron Man. And it's going to be part of the previews exclusive and will cost $15. Glows in the dark, looks fantastic. It's, him kneeling, blood dripping down his eye. He's got the Iron Man Infinity Gauntlet getting ready to do that snap. Up. Tony's got a picture of it there.
If you're watching the cast, man, that's what that guy looks like. I mean, obviously there's some glare, but, that is just one sweet Funko Pop right there.
Yeah, and so if you're a Funko Pop collector, especially in the comic book realm, that's one to get your hands on. And it's $15. I mean, who can't afford $15?
Yeah, it's not bad. Like I said, I kind of made a joke earlier about not buying like the Yoda. I just don't like to spend that big money. I don't like to drop that big money on one. $15 is something I could add to the shelves here. But, it's definitely something I'm going to try to get my hands on, as it will be limited initially. Funko has not announced when it'll be hitting the stores. So right now you're going to have to pre-order at the link above, which we will share on our Facebook page. So go ahead if you want to check that out. By all means.
And the limited version will probably be different than the wide release version if they create more of them, something slightly different. So it's definitely worth getting that one when it becomes available.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like the child is already sold out. It's like the orders for the child that's supposed to be out in May is insane.
Wow.
Yeah, and they got some more ones. Clark Toys is something that's popped up on my Facebook thing, and I clicked on it. Now I seem to get all kinds of stuff, but there's so many Funko Pops coming out. They have Star Wars, the 40th anniversary, where they have like Luke carrying a little Yoda on his back in the backpack. There's Yoda's treehouse. You can get Luke on a Tauntaun, and there is a his and hers Han and Leia. I love you. I know. That set. So a lot of cool things coming out. Iron Maiden's got a 4-pack set coming out of Eddie, which is badass. If you're a heavy metal fan like us, I thought that was really cool. If you're into rap, Ice Cube and Dr. Dre and Tupac have some coming out. They actually look pretty funny. Just Funko has their hands in everything, man. There's literally, if you could think, I'm surprised there has not been like a John Elway Funko Pop. I just picked up my most recent one was a Colorado Avalanche, Nate McKinnon. Picked that up. That's a cool hockey one. Really surprised that now they're doing a lot of mascots, and surprised like the Nuggets don't have Rocky the mascot one yet. That'd be sweet. And Dinger of the Rockies. I'm surprised there hasn't been an Arenado or a Dinger one. But,
well, the neat thing about Funko Pops is that while it's going to be nearly impossible to collect every single one of them, they have a niche for whatever you're into. So, I mean, if you're into comic books or TV or movies or specific franchises out of any of those sports, they've got something where you can collect just those pieces and not have to, have FOMO about collecting absolutely everything they put out.
I'm not all about collecting every single one. I really want to get the ones that catch my eyes. I'm not into collecting all of them. It's, because I get some as gifts, and some of them are like, oh, okay, it's cool, like they're neat and I appreciate them. But I mean, like ones that I'm personally buying are ones that catch my eye where I'm like, man, that's a cool one. That Iron Man one, hella cool. The Star Wars ones that are coming out are hella cool. And I can't wait even for the Mandalorian, the second wave of them. They got one of the flamethrower stormtroopers. Yeah,
oh, cool.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's our first toy segment we've had on our show.
Is it really? Boy,
Yeah.
wow.
Funko poppin', man.
And we're to our last story of the movie news. Sticking in the Star Wars realm, Taika Waititi, who, if you are a fan of
Jojo Rabbit!
or Marvel movies, directed Thor Ragnarok, has reportedly been approached about directing a new Star Wars movie.
Hey, Doug.
Waititi is already part of the Lucasfilm family, having directed the season 1 finale of The Mandalorian, which was the best episode of the first season.
Yes, it was.
And he voiced IG-11 on the show as well.
IG-11.
The current state of talks between Waititi and Disney is unclear. It's also unclear if this movie would be a straight to Disney Plus feature or if it would hit the big screen. But I think if they're able to pin him down to direct a Star Wars movie, probably one of the best things they can do. He is an amazing director, has a great outlook and a great voice in his movies, and brings the comedy as well as the action.
Yeah. He also does the dramatics really well. That Jojo Rabbit, it was a lot of fun. It was different. He was hilarious. It was like imaginary Hitler, but that had its good mix of comedy and seriousness and action and all that. So I agree, man. I like him. I think like you said, having him in Star Wars, directing that last episode was excellent. Thor Ragnarok kicked ass. And I think Thor Love and Thunder, that's going to be freaking awesome. He's directing that. So,
Yep.
Yeah, so some good stuff coming up. Get this guy behind the Star Wars franchise. It's going to be awesome.
Agreed. All right. We are finally to our last
Are you
segment.
still with this? What are we rolling at right now? Like an hour?
Hour and 29 minutes.
Yeah, it's a long one. I skipped dinner tonight for this. I should have ate beforehand. My stomach's grumbling.
Oof.
And it's funny, when we were talking Ghostbusters, I kind of was so weird. The wind is howling. We're going through a blizzard and stuff right now. It's not really a blizzard. It's just a snowstorm. But the windows got like the howling from the wind. And then over here, this damn picture frame is just creeping off the wall. It's the stickiness on the back is just, and then you got this, and we're talking Ghostbusters. Maybe the ghosts don't like my turning review.
There you go.
Not cussing, but you can see what's going on there.
Maybe Slimer will pop up.
Yeah, no, wouldn't that be funny? He slimed me.
All right, Tone, let's talk video games.
Let's do this!
Hey man, you wanna play some video games? Hadouken! Oh, he's on fire! Boom shakalaka!
All right, in video game news, but still sticking in the world of Star Wars, the latest rumor indicates that a new Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic project is underway at EA, and it looks to integrate elements from the first two games in order to bring certain things into the current Star Wars canon. Two sources claim to have knowledge on the rumored return of this beloved franchise. First source says a remake of the 2003 classic is in development, while the second expands and says it wasn't so much remake, but a sequel of sorts. I never played any of the Knights of the Republic games, as they were PC-only games, weren't they? I don't think they appeared on the consoles.
The only console that came out was on the original Xbox, which I didn't own at that run. Thing was honking.
Yeah, I didn't either. But there's a huge following behind Knights of the Old Republic. And, of course, there's rumors of it being the next series of Star Wars movies that are in development. So it would be smart of EA to basically bring this back and continue working on it. Bring it to consoles. Don't make it a PC-only game. And, from what I hear about the newest Star Wars game, give it that level of gameplay as well.
Yeah, I think EA knocked it out of the park with the Jedi Order, the last Star Wars game.
Fallen Order, yeah.
Yeah, Fallen Order. It's selling well. It's doing great. And obviously, I think they're going to need to go more in that direction. Battlefront was disappointing, even though, and another slap is they should have included all the updated stuff from Rise of Skywalker for free on there. You do got to pay for all that stuff, but I think putting that back out, I know, would be a good thing. I think a lot of people would like to play that, myself included, especially if you update it with some graphics. Why not?
Yeah. And, with the movie development, it's one of those things that, the games appeared originally, but it was never really said if they were part of Star Wars canon, which, is the official lore. But actually, there was a little mention in Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker that made Darth Revan part of that canon, where one of Emperor Palpatine's Sith Trooper legions was actually named the Third Revan Legion. So I'd like that to be the next development for the movies, and then of course with the video game that would just tie things in real nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that'd be a really good thing, and hopefully EA does well. They don't always do great, but I think they have the capabilities and the money to put out some good games, especially Star Wars. It'd be nice.
Yep. All right, and then we have finally made it to our last story. A little less of a video game story, a little more of a theme park story.
Oh yeah, I've even got the little theme title for you, my friend. Oh yeah. Are we talking Super Nintendo or what?
We're talking Super Nintendo World. So Universal Studios is officially bringing Super Nintendo World to North America as part of its upcoming Epic Universe theme park in Orlando, Florida. Universal parent company Comcast announced the Super Nintendo World news during its fourth quarter 2019 investors meeting, and the Epic Universe park is set to open in 2023. The first Super Nintendo World location is set to open this summer at Universal Studios in Japan. And Nintendo recently released a CGI music video to give fans an early look at the theme park. The park will feature a Super Mario Kart ride, as well as a Yoshi's Adventure ride when it opens, and visitors will also be able to interact in the park using Nintendo-themed wristbands. I mean, this is something theme park-wise that I've been waiting for since I was a kid.
Oh, absolutely, man. They're taking some fun elements of what, kind of what Disney's been doing lately, trying to do more interactive things. And now the whole fact that you can do that with the Nintendo properties, I mean, you have access to Zelda, Metroid, Pikmin, Splatoon, Super Mario, and then, Mario in his own universe is huge. It's massive. Could you imagine, being there, and I'm sure, being able to play classic games or interactions to just feel like you're there in either the Mushroom Kingdom or whatnot. I mean, like you said, that's my favorite video game as a kid. It's what got me in. I love Nintendo. Universal hit it big partnering with Nintendo. I mean, now, because what's going to happen is Illumination. I am getting tired. I apologize.
Illumination
Studios will be developing the next Super Mario Brothers movie. It's going to be done in the artwork of Despicable Me and everything. So what you can't go wrong partnering together. I mean, this is one property that Disney won't own, and it's a huge pickup for Universal. This seems like the whole Universal episode, between starting it off with the Peacock and ending it up with Super Mario and Universal.
And Fast and the Furious right there in the middle. And
yeah, this was very, very much a pro-Universal episode. But you got to think it's a hell of a pickup for this franchise. I mean, it's massive. Yeah. So I'm excited for it. I don't think I will be going right away. It's going to be kind of like Star Wars Land. We got lucky. A couple of weeks ago, Christian and I were able to go to Star Wars Land, Star Wars Galaxy Edge at Disneyland. We were there the day before Rise of the Resistance kicked off. And, brother, I don't know if you got a chance to see that, but
the videos.
We dodged a flipping bullet, man.
Yeah, we did.
Did you see those lines?
Oh, and not only that, but it was raining that night, too.
Yeah. It was insane. Like,
Yeah.
it was so cold that day Chris and I went. It was awesome to go as a fan to Disneyland, dude. We did not wait probably more than 10 minutes to get on most rides. It was 5. We could have done Splash Mountain like 50 times. It was so cold that day, which we skipped. But I mean, you're talking, we got to do Space Mountain, you know, we got to do Star Tours, we got to do Buzz, we got to do Big Thunder Mountain twice,
Smuggler's Run.
Guardians 3 times, the Incredicoaster, did we do it twice or 3 times? Twice. I mean, we did everything. Well worth the day in the park that day. And I don't think I'm going to do that on opening day or any time during that for Super Mario World, because God, that's our Super Nintendo World. There are going to be a lot of people there, but I tell you what, it is eventually going to roll out, and it will be hitting the California side of things the next couple of years as well. It's going to be awesome, man.
Totally.
I think it's going to be really cool.
I agree. And let's see, we are now at the 1:38 mark, so I'd say it's probably time to call this thing. Let you go to bed. I'll go to bed. Let our listeners do whatever they're doing, because they can listen to it whenever they want.
Anytime, yeah. So this one wasn't a live one due to the length of it, because I don't think people would tune in this long. Not on a live cast. They'd be asleep at this point. So you watch it when you want to. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to check out Rough Riders. Donate if you can. Please share and promote that. It is for a good cause. It's wonderful. If you're into pop culture shows and stuff, don't forget to check out Pop Culture Kaboom. Like us, follow us on social media, on Facebook at Proton Pack Podcast. We're on Instagram, Proton Pack Podcast. I need to aim that better here. Wait, here, there we go, right there. Yes, if I just get this down right. And then YouTube, Proton Pack. And we appreciate you guys. Episode 45 in the books. Damn good show. We're going to try to, we won't do one this Sunday, I don't think.
No, but
let's
aim for next Sunday.
So we're hoping next Sunday we will be able to go live and live in color, because there's no football unless you're into the XFL. That's back. So we'll have some movie reviews by next time. And I think we'll both have seen Harley Quinn by that point, maybe.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see. So anyways, skip the turning, see The Gentleman on a matinee, and go see Bad Boys for Life. I'm done talking. You got anything else to say?
Nope, I'm good. I'm ready for bed. Go ahead and take us out, Tone.
Oh, yeah.
I am. That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. Woo!
Mommy, where's Fluffy?
Goodbye.
Do it.